Halloween Havoc, 1997. We're talking the match of matches on that card. No, we're not talking Hogan Warrior. We are talking Eddie Guerrero, Rey Mysterio, Cruiserweight title, Mask versus title. Go. Oh, I thought you were talking. Okay. So, how this match is important is, first of all, Eddie came to WCW from ECW and from ECW from Mexico, same as Rey. And Eddie was the first luchador, masked luchador, to willingly give up the mask and take the dishonor. A lot of people don't know that. Now, I don't remember his masked wrestler name, but it's something that's hard to pronounce. I know that. But he had the Guerrero lineage, which kind of helped him step into being Eddie Guerrero. But when he first came to WCW, he was a face. And he was kind of a generic, bland face. But then WCW turned him heel. And he was a vicious and entertaining heel. And his match with Rey Mysterio was coming after his win against Jericho and his feud against Jericho for the WCW Cruiserweight Championship. And this was back when the Cruiserweights could show you what they could do. You know, later on, the Cruiserweights were kind of handcuffed. And they're like, don't go all out. They're like, don't go all out. They're like, just kind of don't show up any of the matches. Just kind of dance out there and look pretty. But this time they're like, do what you can do. And so this was a match that was one of the best WCW's best match in '97. It was one of the best matches of the '90s, and it is infamous. It's also the start of the Rey Mysterio Eddie Guerrero feud, which lasted decades. Well, it lasted till Eddie Guerrero's death. And now they're still feuding. Rey gets out a Ouija board every once in a while and calls up Eddie Guerrero's spirit, and then they have like a wrestling match between the Ghost and Rey. They're gonna do a ladder match here soon. But Eddie has an advantage because he can float. So Rey's got to get an advantage. He's got to get a jetpack. But anyways, that was kind of disrespectful. Just a little tiny bit. But anyways. But in the weeks leading up to this feud, it was kind of boring. And so WCW made Rey put his mask on the line. Now, this was something Rey admitted that he did not want to do in real life. He thought it was disrespectful. And he was kind of down on the match because he had to put his mask on the line. And so Eddie, but he knew he'd have a good match with Eddie because Eddie was his friend, and they even call each other brothers if you listen to them in certain interviews. So they knew they'd go out and have a great match. They just didn't know the ending. So in the weeks leading up to this match, Eddie was viciously attacking Rey. I mean, he attacked him with a sock. He attacked him with a dildo. He attacked him with a hand puppet. No, he didn't. They were actually vicious attacks. They were not playful attacks like I'm naming. He did not like tickle him to death. That was on Elmo's World leading up to Elmo's match against Mr. Noodle. Don't ask me how I know who Elmo and Mr. Noodle are. but they were vicious attacks. And I said, Eddie's mask was on the line. So Eddie comes out in his purple gear, inspired by The Phantom. For those of you who don't remember The Phantom, it was a superhero movie starring Billy Zane as the Phantom. And it was good, but not great. And Eddie Carrier comes out doing his best heel work. And then the match gets started, and immediately they go all in. And this match is spectacular. It has everything. There's a reason it's known as one of the best matches of the 90s. And eventually, Eddie tries to tear the mask, which is known as one of the first matches in America where they're trying to tear the mask off the person, which would be something that in Ray's matches would happen frequently, which they would tear the mask, which is a sign of disrespect against the luchador, which tearing the crotch out would probably do better because they won't want to show their penis, but they also don't want to show their face. So just tear wherever. So he's trying to tear the mask, and that becomes a running thing in Rey Mysterio's matches from then on. And it kind of sits up where they both are as wrestlers. But Rey Mysterio ends up winning and wins Cruiserweight Championship. And everybody remembers it. Everybody thinks Rey won the feud, and it was a big deal. In reality, Eddie won the title back 2 weeks later and won the third match. And Eddie went on to a great heel run with the title. But Rey went on to a great underdog face run and became one of the bigger stars in WCW, who was never given the WCW World Championship. Or I don't think he was ever given any championship. He was given the tag team championship, but I don't think he was given any other singles championships besides the Cruiserweight Championship. Eddie would go to WWF and have a great career. Rey would go to WWF and have a great career. They would ignite their rivalry again there in a custody of Dominic ladder match, which Dominic needs his custody disputed again because we don't know who he belongs to now. Is he Rey? Is he a Rey? Is he a Guerrero? I think he's a Chimichanga. So that is the match. I highly recommend people go back and watch this match. It is worth watching, as it is great. And the win Rey gets genuinely feels good, because it's a clean win, and it is a great feel-good moment for Rey. So join me later in the week when we'll be watching a Meowie Christmas. No, a Meowie Halloween. It's not Christmas time, it's Halloween time. What am I talking about? I'm getting months ahead of myself. A Meowie Halloween starring a cat. It is not my cat.